Hello everybody, this is Matthew coming to you with another installment on Indian Country Farms. I am your videographer, and of course, as you've been sticking around, you know that our host today is Susan. We're making bread, and we've got up to the point, this is number 2, this is the second part, and the dough is just about where you want it, isn't it?
Yep.
It's just kind of hanging to the hook there and flowing around. She's putting just a little bit more flour in here and there. This is something that you have to, this is the art of it, the art of bread making. There's science involved. I mean, baking is chemistry. But, oh yeah, she laughs at me. Baking is chemistry, but you have to have the art down. You have to be able to tell when it's ready, what is right. Because there are so many factors that are involved here, including the weather. You know, what things are, what's going on in your house, what's going on, just a lot, so.
Okay, so it's a little sticky still, so we're still mixing, and I'm just putting in a little flour at a time until it's basically a real satin, smooth dough.
And if you didn't have the mixer, this is where you'd be, you'd just be mixing by hand, rolling it, and I guess it's almost a kneading process.
Yeah, where you just kind of push in with your heels and then bring it over, push in, and just keep bringing it over. Which I might still do a video on the older ways of doing it, but we'll get this out there.
With any luck, we'll get to see that, yeah. Because that is handy to know. I mean, some of these things, some of these old things you learn in case for whatever reason you find yourself unable to go to the store and get a loaf of bread.
Out of electricity.
Out of electricity. We had a snowstorm a few years back. There was no bread or milk in our town, or neighboring towns also, as a matter of fact. There were people driving 30 miles for a loaf of bread.
Yeah. So, this looks like it's basically ready.
Yeah. Probably should turn it off before you lower it down like that. Yeah.
Well,
we get all excited with the glamour of Hollywood and everything, making videos.
YouTube. Okay, so this is really nice. Okay, then what I do is I take a bowl. A deep bowl is really good. Plastic.
Plastic, stainless steel.
Well, you don't.
A crockery, if you have something, you've lubricated that with a little shortening. Is that correct?
Yep, that's what I'm going to do right now. Put a little shortening, lard, whatever. The shortening or lard,
coconut oil.
It just
butter.
Really. Like in the pans later on, I'll video it when it comes out of the pans and stuff. It really comes out really nice with shortening or lard as opposed to like an oil and we don't use any kind of sprays or anything anymore. So we do everything.
Nature over convenience. Is that where we're going?
Right.
We're trying to head in that direction.
Right.
No perfection here.
So this is what it looks like. It's kind of still a little sticky, but it's basically, you can touch it and it really should just kind of form back.
And it's not really sticking to your hands. You've got a little shortening on your hands, but still you can tell it's not so sticky, right?
Yep. So anyway, just form it into a ball, and then I get the shortening or the lard or whatever you're using all over the top of it so it doesn't get hard when you set it out to rise. Then I like to use a damp towel, and then you just put it over the bowl, and it's going to be a couple hours. What you're looking for is it to rise up about this high.
To where it's pushing the...
Where it's pushing up over the towel. You know, the towel just pops.
It's about, what, 3-4 inches down from the top of that bowl to the top of the dough ball.
Right. And then what I do is, usually if I'm baking bread, I'll probably bake something sweet that day too to warm up the kitchen so that way it rises a little bit faster. Some people put it in an oven with maybe at 150 degrees. They preheat the oven to that, put the bowl in there. It's probably going to be a metal bowl or
a lot of times now I do remember whenever I was a boy, and I think some people still do that, some of our friends that have a stove with a pilot light.
Yeah, with a pilot light.
Put it in the oven, and the pilot light keeps the oven warm enough to go ahead and prompt the yeast to work and the bread to rise.
Right. So, but what we do is I usually just bake something sweet for the hubby.
Yay!
And warm up the kitchen, and I put my bowls up on top of our refrigerator. And then I tell him he cannot open and close this refrigerator so often.
Rats.
So,
I'm always getting in trouble.
I've got two balls of dough up here. So that's going to make 4 loaves of bread. We usually give some to our friends or sell some, or it all depends on who's
Family.
asking for bread.
Buying favors.
Family, friends,
Things
trade.
of that nature. Yeah.
Anyway, what I'll do is I'll come back later on, maybe after Matthew gets back from helping out at the paper, and we'll go ahead and show you what we do next. But again, we're going to 4 loaves of bread. This is just your basic white bread recipe. It's about 6 or 7 cups of flour, 2.5 tablespoons of oil, and a 1/3 cup of sugar, 2 teaspoons of salt, and 2 teaspoons of yeast. What kind of yeast do we use again?
Well, that's
It's that dry,
I'm not. I don't really remember. We buy that at some
buy
friends
it
of ours have a store. They're Amish, and we use the same yeast
oh, here it
that
is.
she
Here it is.
uses. Oh, there it is.
Because
Yeah.
this is the last of it. It's called Safe Instant. It's an instant yeast.
Yeah.
And it comes in here packed. I mean, I'll probably use one of these in a year.
There are different yeasts that you'll want to use for different purposes. Maybe you don't want an instant yeast. Maybe you want a yeast that's going to act slower. Just something more natural. Now we do have. Where's your? Oh, here it is. Get that jar of sourdough. Now we haven't gone plumb Hollywood here. This was sent to us by
a friend of mine out in Nevada, and it's a sourdough starter. So, anyway, we're working on that.
It's you got this. Well, we got this here a while back. She dehydrated that. Took her starter, put some in her dehydrator, dehydrated it, and sent it to us. It came in flakes. And we put it in this jar, and we're waking it up. We were rehydrating it and supplying it with some food, some flour. Did you put sugar in it?
Yeah.
Sometimes we use honey.
Yeah, here's the...
sometimes we get feeling a little
This is
hippie-like.
This is dehydrated sourdough starter.
Yeah, and it is flakes. But hey, that works. The yeast goes to sleep.
Yeah.
It just goes to sleep.
And then a friend of mine that I used to work with at in the airline industry, she told me a couple years ago about this book. She said it's like the Sourdough Bible Cookbook.
Oh.
So I'm going to use that for
Let's
recipes.
give that. We ought to send them a bill for this plug here. For those of you who don't know, I used to make my living in advertising. Now I'm pretty much retired. What I do at the paper is what your teenage kid would do at the paper.
Yeah. So, I want to thank Beverly Adams out in Nevada for sending us the sourdough yeast starter or whatever. And then, of course, my friend Maddie Whitehouse from when I worked in the airline industry about the cookbook. So we're going to try this again. The last time we tried sourdough, we kind of messed up. So we waited on it a while. Yeah. So
we were in a house that had a
mold issue.
A mold issue.
But now we're in our own house, on our own property, doing our own thing. And so
yay!
We can control our own problems
destiny.
by fixing them.
Mold. Yes.
So anyway,
we get to instead of calling the landlord, we just have to get up and go fix our junky stuff.
Right. But we did like our last landlord. He was a real sweet guy, and he bought a lot of bread from me. Anyway, that's all I have for now, and we'll be back later with number 3 video on homemade bread.
Thank you for joining us, and we'll continue again with more videos on bread making right here on Indian Country Farms.
Bye.